The winter of 1944 did not arrive like a season. It arrived like an ambush. No warnings, no forecasts, no safety nets. Just a sudden, merciless wall of cold descending on a continent already torn open by war. In those first seconds of freezing breath, one truth became undeniable. In total war, the most dangerous enemy is often the one you cannot hear. Bombs had shattered cities, streets and homes, but they had also destroyed the very lifelines that kept people warm. Electrical grids lay in ruins. Gas lines were twisted metal. Coal depots smouldered in smoking craters. Every source of heat, every ember of comfort, was either destroyed or seized for military needs. Families pressed together in roofless rooms where winter wind cut through broken walls like a blade. Soldiers crouched in frozen trenches, damp uniforms clinging to skin, turning bodies into slow-moving ice. And as temperatures fell, the truth became brutally clear. Cold was not weather. Cold was a weapon. Before we dive deeper, take a moment to like, share, comment and subscribe to The Hard Past. Now let's uncover the survival secrets that saved thousands during the deadliest winters of World War II. As heating systems collapsed, warmth became scarce. Europeans found themselves trapped inside structures that no longer protected them. Civilians slept in rooms where entire walls had been blasted away, leaving nothing between them and the winter air. Basements, once safe havens, became icy chambers where frost formed along the floor with every breath of cold air. On the front lines, soldiers faced a second enemy, the cold itself. Trenches filled with frozen mud and foxholes turned into bowls of ice. Boots froze around feet, and every gust of wind was a reminder that warmth was slipping away. Hypothermia did not announce itself. It crept in quietly. Fingers turned numb. Reflexes slowed. Thought became fog. And then came the irresistible pull to sleep, a sleep many never woke from. Men who had survived artillery, starvation and bullets were undone by the simple loss of heat. In desperation, many turned to ordinary wax candles. They had a flame, they had light, they looked like hope. But hope alone could not keep a body alive. The physics was unforgiving. Candle heat rises straight upward and disappears. It does not radiate outward. It does not stay near the body. Thousands discovered too late that a candle could illuminate a room, but not warm it. The flame survived, but they did not. Survival required understanding how fire behaves, not just its appearance. From this realization emerged one of the simplest yet most ingenious survival tools of the war, the heat candle. Improvised by civilians and soldiers alike, it directed heat precisely to where the human body needed it most. This was no military invention. It appeared organically across Europe, driven by necessity. Families in Warsaw, Paris and Berlin experimented with leftover wax cardboard cloth and scrap cans. Soldiers heated water, preserved dexterity and protected hands from freezing, using nothing but the principles of radiant warmth. The heat candle was never about comfort. It was about survival. At first glance, a heat candle looks unimpressive. A tin can, some cardboard, a bit of wax. But every component performs a crucial function. The metal container absorbs the flame's energy and spreads it sideways. The rolled cardboard or cloth inside acts like capillaries, draw in melted wax upward for a steady, slow burn. Fuel came from wax stubs, tallow, grease, or leftover cooking oil. The result, hours of usable warmth with minimal resources. The magic was radiant heat. Unlike an open flame, which shoots energy upward, a heat candle spreads warmth to the skin, preserving circulation and motor function. Even just a few degrees of targeted warmth could, prevent hypothermia from taking hold. The principle is simple, but honestly life-saving: trap heat, slow its escape, and apply it where it matters most. Civilians quickly discovered that clustering several heat candles under a clay or metal pot created a kind of rudimentary heat exchanger. The pot would absorb the rising heat and radiate it outward, producing a steady, slow pulse of warmth. Soldiers did the same in field shelters, placing pots over clustered flames to dry gear and keep hands functional. Across Europe, people separated by borders and war converged on the same solutions. Instinct honed by desperation. Even a tiny heat source carried risks. Carbon monoxide and oxygen depletion were invisible killers. Survivors understood one rule: always ventilate. Even a cracked window or small hole in a wall was a lifeline. Those who ignored ventilation sometimes found warmth, but never life. Survival depended not just on heat, but on respecting all the forces acting within an enclosed space. The heat candle could not warm large rooms. It could not replace a stove. But, it did not need to. Its genius was in doing exactly enough to keep human bodies alive. It preserved hands, maintained circulation, and delayed hypothermia just long enough for another sunrise. Thousands of tiny innovations, adding pitch, using animal fat, adjusting wick density, showed the adaptability of ordinary people. Each heat candle, each variation, tells a story of ingenuity and resilience. The people who survived the winter of 1944 were not stronger or luckier than anyone else. They understood physics, biology, and, the razor-thin boundary between life and death. Survival was not heroic, it was scientific. They learned how heat behaves, they learned how bodies fail, and they learned to work with the world as it was. Their lesson endures. When history doesn't whisper, it warns. Master the principles of survival, respect the forces around you, and, even the coldest winters can be endured. Remember to like, share, comment, and subscribe to The Hard Past. Every story, every lesson keeps the past alive and teaches us how to survive today.